We're standing in the middle of the dancing floor, surrounded by the crowd of men as we're listening to the Phil Collins Against All Odds. I stare into the eyes of the person whose hands are holding my waist. Should I or should I not kiss? Can I face the consequences? It was a Saturday night in September 1995 in Taipei, Taiwan. I was living in Hong Kong at the time, and I went back to Taipei, my birthplace, to attend a conference without notifying my family. And that conference was Asian Pacific Lesbian Network Conference. I was supposed to be there as an impartial researcher. I ended up working as an interpreter so lesbians from different countries could communicate with one another. That night, we went out dancing at a local gay bar. Jeannie, one of the delegates from the Philippines, asked me to dance. When we were on the dancing floor, I was debating if I should kiss her. I knew she liked me, but I didn't want to flirt, though. You see, I always end up having sex when I just flirt to have relationships. So I say no to flirting unless I intend to have sex. Besides, I would be leaving Asia for good in a few months. I wasn't planning on getting involved. But Jeannie, she was exactly my type. Boyish-looking butch woman. Just the way I like it. So I let myself go and I kissed her. And we kissed for a long, long time until the music was over. And after the music was over, we left the bar to go outside in a thunderstorm to find a better place to kiss and to make out more. We ended up getting lost for 2 hours. By the time we got back to the bar, all the lesbians were waiting for us, including Jeannie's friends. And they pretty much figured out what was going on between us. And that night, someone else in Manila also found out about us. Jeannie's partner, a nationally known feminist in the Philippines. So overnight, our relationship became a national scandal and an international love triangle. I never wanted to be the other woman. I believe in karma. If you steal somebody's love, karma will have you pay. But in the next few months after I returned to Hong Kong and she back to the Philippines, I couldn't control myself from calling her. There was a payphone near my workplace, and every afternoon I would take a break and use the payphone to call her. And with each call, I found myself quickly learning the difference between loving someone and falling in love with someone. You see, you might choose to love someone, but you don't choose to fall in love with someone. And the key word here is fall, because once you start falling, you're completely hopeless and helpless until you crash. I realized that I was falling in love with her, and falling in love with her was a chance in a lifetime for me, because that was the first time in my life that I finally understood what it felt like to fall in love. I was given the rare permission to go to heaven. But hell was at a price to pay. I made 3 trips to Manila before I left Asia for good. On the last day of my last trip, Jeannie gave me an engagement ring. She wanted to show me her commitment to me, and she didn't want me to feel like this was a fling for me. I wasn't a marriage type, but I said yes to the proposal anyway. I thought I would just take the ring and figure out what to do later. So I got the ring. By the time I returned to the United States at the end of 1995, hell was waiting for me. So every weekend, I would call Jeannie twice from my home in Austin, Texas, because that was all I can afford. So every Friday night, which was Saturday morning in the Philippines, when most people in the United States would be calling their families over there, the phone line would be busy for hours. It didn't matter. I would faithfully dial the numbers. You still remember the phones back in the 1990s? I would dial the number, and I would push the redial button over and over for hours until I finally reach her. And then by the time I reach her, I will have a complete mental breakdown. I will be crying, I will be screaming. And then I will repeat the same ritual again Saturday night. It didn't matter that I knew I wasn't able to get through for hours. There's no rational thinking when you are madly in love. So I finally tasted true love. But punishment was every step of the way. I feel guilty for falling in love with her, for loving her. And I just didn't know if we would be able to see each other again at all. So I hung on to this relationship for a year and a half until I finally had to call it quits. Because toward the end, it was either her or my own sanity. And I had to choose me. The last time we talked on the phone, this is what Jeannie said to me. Remember, I was already on my way out when we met. You didn't steal me from anyone. The only thing you stole was my heart. Keep that and keep the ring. When love is your luck and your curse, you're in heaven and hell at the same time. I was fortunate enough to make it back to the earth. Jeannie and I, we never see each other again in person, but I still have the ring. Thank you.